A major gold-silver discovery has just been confirmed in New Zealand, and this deposit is unusually clean. It's high grade, it's largely free milling, and at current prices, it's worth billions of dollars sitting in the ground. What makes it even more interesting is where it formed, inside volcanic rocks that erupted millions of years ago, with the gold and silver arriving after the eruption, carried upward by a hidden hydrothermal system that's only now being properly understood. Because on the surface there's nothing obvious. No massive quartz reef, no visible gold, no historic workings pointing directly at it, just forest and volcanic terrain. But underneath that landscape is a structurally controlled vein system carrying over 1 million ounces of gold with silver riding alongside it in the form of electrum, and the grades are what really stand out. The current resource sits at roughly 2.6 million tonnes, grading about 17 grams per tonne of gold, which means it contains around 1.4 to 1.5 million ounces of gold. That alone is already significant, but it's not just the gold. Silver is present throughout the system as well, pushing the total metal content even higher. At today's prices, you're looking at a multi-billion-dollar in-ground value, and that's before the latest drilling. Because recent work has confirmed something much more important than just high grade. It's confirmed that the system is still expanding. New drill intercepts, like nearly 15 meters at over 16 grams per tonne of gold, and narrower zones exceeding 25 grams per tonne, are defining a completely new high-grade zone outside the original model. This new zone extends for at least 150 meters and is still open. That means this isn't a capped deposit, it's growing, and yet the region itself isn't new. The Coromandel has been known for gold for a long time. It's one of New Zealand's historic goldfields. Exploration has happened here before, as has mining, but what's changed is the level of detail. Modern drilling, structural modelling, and alteration mapping have revealed that this system is far more organised and far richer than previously understood. Because this isn't scattered mineralisation, it's a textbook low sulfidation epithermal system. To understand why that matters, you have to go back around 8 to 10 million years. At that time, this area was volcanically active. Rhyolite magma erupted across the region, forming thick volcanic units that now host the deposit. But the eruption itself didn't create the gold, it set the stage for it. After the volcanic activity, the system remained hot. Heat from the underlying magmatic source continued to drive fluid movement through the crust. Groundwater mixed with magmatic fluids, and those fluids began circulating through fractures in newly formed volcanic rocks. As they moved, they picked up metals, gold and silver, deep within the system. Then they started rising, but they didn't just spread out randomly. The region was undergoing extension at the time, meaning the crust was being pulled apart. That created faults, long continuous structures that acted like vertical pathways for fluid flow. Everything was focused into those structures, and that's where the deposit begins to form. As the fluids rose, pressure dropped. At a certain depth, they crossed a threshold where they began to boil. That boiling caused an immediate chemical shift. The dissolved metals could no longer stay in solution. Gold and silver dropped out, fast, and they dropped out together. That's how electrum forms, a natural alloy of gold and silver, deposited directly from the fluid as it destabilizes. This process didn't just happen once, it happened repeatedly. Each pulse of fluid deposited a new layer of quartz, a new band, a new event. Over time, that built up a network of quartz veins cutting through the rhyolite. These veins aren't random, they're aligned along fault zones, steep, narrow, and continuous. In some areas, they form single veins. In others, they branch into multiple parallel veins or brecciated zones where the rock has been broken and re-cemented by quartz. It's a structurally controlled system from top to bottom, and within that system, there's one level that matters more than anything else. The boiling zone. That's where the grades peak. Because that's where the chemistry changes most dramatically, and where the largest volumes of gold and silver drop out of the fluid. That's exactly what the current drilling is targeting and hitting. Now here's where this deposit becomes genuinely unusual. In many gold systems, especially deeper ones, the gold is locked up in sulfide minerals. It's not free, you have to break the mineral apart, often through roasting or chemical oxidation, just to get the gold out. That's what's known as refractory ore. But this system isn't like that. The sulfide content here is low. Pyrite is present, but it's not dominant. There's no strong indication of complex sulfide minerals controlling the gold. Instead, the gold and electrum sit directly within the quartz veins, which means the ore is largely free milling. And that changes everything, because now you have a combination that's rarely seen together at this scale. Very high grade, and relatively simple metallurgy. You don't need extreme processing, you don't need to fight the mineralogy. Standard methods are enough to recover the metal efficiently. That's a big part of why this deposit is considered so valuable, and the alteration systems support the entire model. At the centre of the deposit, the rock is heavily silicified, essentially replaced by quartz. That marks the core of fluid flow. Surrounding that is a zone rich in adularia and illite, minerals that form under specific conditions associated with boiling. Further out, the alteration transitions into clay-rich zones, representing cooler, more distal parts of the system. This zoning is clear, consistent and predictable, which tells you something important. The system is well preserved. It hasn't been heavily deformed or overprinted by later geological events. The original structure, the original fluid pathways, and the original alteration patterns are still intact. That makes it much easier to model, and much easier to explore, because once you understand the controls, you can follow them, and that's exactly what's happening now. The company developing the deposit isn't chasing random targets. They're stepping along known structures, extending the system, and identifying new high-grade chutes that sit just beyond the current resource boundary. And as they do that, the deposit keeps growing. The mining plan reflects the geometry. This isn't a bulk, low-grade system suited to open-pit mining. The veins are narrow, steep and high-grade, so the plan is to develop it as an underground operation, targeting those high-grade zones directly. That approach maximizes value while minimizing waste. Part of a broader regional development, the project outlines a potential mine life of over a decade, with strong production numbers and solid economic returns. But again, that's based on what's already defined, not what's still being discovered. Because the most important takeaway from all of this is that the system isn't finished. It's open along strike and at depth, and it likely continues into parallel structures that haven't been fully tested. That's how epithermal systems behave. They don't form as isolated veins. They form as networks, repeating patterns of mineralization along structural corridors. So when you find one high-grade zone, there's a strong chance there are more. And that's exactly what this discovery is starting to show. This isn't just a single deposit. It's a window into a much larger hydrothermal system that's been sitting beneath these volcanic rocks for millions of years. A system that formed shortly after eruption, driven by heat, structured by faults, and defined by boiling fluids that locked gold and silver into place with remarkable efficiency. And now with modern exploration, it's finally being mapped in detail, not as a scattered set of veins, but as a coherent, predictable, and highly valuable system. A system that's hidden in plain sight. And it's only now revealing just how much metal was actually there the entire time. I hope you found this as interesting as I did, and as always, thanks for watching. Before I end this video, I'd like to give a big shout out to my Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you so much to everyone that helps to support this channel.